Yo, what's going on, party people? Robert Jenkins, coming to you from Moon Mind Productions with the North Star Podcast. Been sitting back trying to figure out how I feel about everything that's going on and trying to put it into words, and I finally was able to get a little something on paper, and this is what I came up with. A little something like this. We being used like black pawns upon a chessboard, played by black-hearted rulers that want war. That be the health of the state. We caught up in the embrace of a killing machine that runs on hatred and division. They got us ready to fight each other, lying by omission, pushing propaganda, trying to overthrow the system. But the system is our life, and our freedom is the price of being ruled by our emotions. They control us like some puppets on a string, pulled by shadowy beings. You think them bricks was left by accident for fascists to fleeing? They laying seeds to the American dream. But first they had to soften us up with their COVID-19 a vaccine. Yo, this was a plandemic. It's a straight up plandemic. Come on, folks. Anybody can see they ain't fighting no injustice. They done work they plan. They done plan they work, and now they working they plan. They pushing their agenda. They ain't just burning down cities and stuff. They burning down the idea of America. America is a beautiful idea. It's not perfect, but it is beautiful. What they doing is using the flames, the sins of the past, to fan the flames of anger in the present. And I, for one, I can't let them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else to do, so I'm gonna try to use my words as a weapon. May God help us. Yeah, party people, once again, welcome to the North Star Podcast. Forgive me, I'm a little bit tardy to the party, as my homeboy Mad Mike would say. But nonetheless, I haven't deserted you, and I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to say about what's going on. And, well, I think y'all heard the lyrics. The main thing that I wanted to kind of highlight on that is that I feel like we're being used like pawns. And when I say we, I mean black people in specific, but also Americans are being played like pawns. There's many aspects that I want to get into, but what I want to do on this episode is I'm going to give you what I would call is a freeman's take. A free man's take on chaos. Really, it's a free man's take on how these cats are trying to bring order out of chaos, because I believe that is exactly what they're doing. They're bringing order out of chaos. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later on. But what I first want to do again is kind of I just want to break it down to you what I'm actually with a little bit of historical analysis, a little bit of intelligence background, a little bit of just various insights that I may have, whatever insight I may have, if I have any, that remains to be seen. But one thing that I want to point out from a free man's perspective, and by the way, that title, Free Man's Perspective, that comes from a website. Y'all can look that up. It's freemansperspective.com, and that's run by a dude named Paul Rosenberg, and he has some pretty good stuff, because we talk about freedom here on the North Star Podcast, and on the Free Man's Perspective, that's something I used to read back in the day, and it's all about freedom too. So anyway, I don't mean to encroach on his intellectual property using that term, free man's perspective. So this is a free man's take on the chaos. The first thing I want to say is that the cops who committed this atrocity, well, the thing you have to realize, when I was a young man back in Lubbock, Texas, I realized I used to always be interested in carrying weapons. And I, being the kind of person that I am, I actually looked up the laws as it pertains to carrying weapons. What are you allowed to carry? What are you legally able to carry in Texas? And while I was looking that up, I came across several other parts of the actual law, the actual penal code in Texas. And at the time when I was looking it up, the penal code stated that, law enforcement officers don't have any powers that ordinary citizens don't have. So in other words, as a citizen, if you see somebody killing somebody, you can stop them And you can do so using whatever force is necessary. So if you can stop them by scaring them off, you can do that. If you can stop the person that's killing someone by yelling and saying, I'm calling the cops, you can do that. If that doesn't work and you have to use deadly force, you can do that too. That's in the Texas Penal Code, or at least it was. I was looking at this. This was back in the 90s or something when I was looking at this. But I bet you it's not too much different. So what I'm saying to you is this. The first free man's take on this chaos. The first point I want to make is that when cops behave like criminals, they are not cops, they're criminals. And some penal codes, look this up if you don't believe me. I don't even know if it's still like this, but I know, like I said, back in the 90s it was like this. When cops behave like criminals, you can treat them like criminals. And I think it's disgraceful, and it talks about how cowardly and ineffective we are as an American people that we would sit there and let these cops do that. It takes a lot of courage. I don't know what I would have done if I was seeing that, but I couldn't stand by and let a man be murdered. So first of all, let's get that straight. When cops act like criminals, they are no longer cops, they are criminals. Now, there are people out there who twist your words on purpose. Well, dude, don't be twisting my words. I'm going to tell you what my words mean right here, and my words mean what I said. If a cop is acting like a criminal, they don't get the immunities and privileges of a police officer. They get treated like a criminal. I'm not saying go out and do things to cops who aren't doing anything to you. Notice too, this is all about individuals, because that's how freedom starts. You don't go out and loot and burn down society because some cops did something wrong. You need to hold those particular cops accountable, and we have a process for that. And if that process doesn't work, well, again, cops don't deserve impunity or immunity when they are acting like criminals. They deserve to be treated like criminals. Look it up, man. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm a working man, so I don't get time to sit back and let think tanks do all my research for me. But the last time I looked this up, cops, when they act like criminals and exceed the mandate of their office, meaning they do stuff that they shouldn't be doing, you can treat them like criminals, up to and including using deadly force. And that's just the way it goes. I'm not saying go out and hurt nobody. Don't be twisting my words. But I'm saying if police forces and stuff won't hold them accountable, then there must be other ways. I realize what I'm saying there, and I realize how much that takes, how much courage that takes, and how much really it takes a wanton disregard for one's own life and one's own family and well-being. But, don't burn down society when you should be holding the individual accountable. The other thing I want to say that one of the whole reasons behind this tragedy is black criminality. If you notice, if you just be honest with yourself, all the stuff that they have tried to get black people riled up about in the last, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. You know the cases. I ain't gonna call the names out, but you know all the names. All the men, the young black men that have been killed by police. One of the things that they all have in common is that most of them, I won't say all of them because I'm going off the top of my head here, but most of them were committing some sort of criminal act. And so one thing that I would say is that with freedom comes responsibilities. And I wanted to make the point that if you can't control yourself, then you invite others to control you. And in this society, and almost any society on the planet, those others who are going to control you are the government. And you know what George Washington said about government? And if you don't, I'll tell you. He said government is like fire. It is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Government is force, is what George Washington said. So when you don't control yourself, when you out there living that life and doing that stuff that everybody be doing, them people that be doing, what they be doing. I know what they be doing too. I'm not saying that you deserve to die, and don't be twisting my words. Listen to what I'm saying and know that I'm telling you what I'm saying. There ain't no hidden covert meanings behind what I'm saying. I'm saying control yourself, or you're going to invite the government to use force to control you. That's all I'm saying. And everybody know that's true. And if you don't know it's true, look around. This ain't no Uncle Tom stuff. This ain't no whataboutism. Somebody told me, you be engaged in that whataboutism. No, I don't. Malcolm X must have been engaged in whataboutism, because that's where I get most of my philosophy from. Malcolm X, when he was with the Nation of Islam, he said, and this is probably almost verbatim, check his speeches out, check his books out. I got them all on the bookshelf back there. He said, You need to be an upright person. You need to be clean cut. You need to follow the law. You need to not give them an excuse to put their hands on you and not give them an excuse to intervene in your conduct in any way, form, or fashion. In other words, you got to be upright, righteous, and above reproach. Because if you're not living your life that way, you're giving the powers that be and the evil that is an excuse to come put hands on you. You know what I'm saying? You want to give them an excuse to put hands on you? Come on. I don't want nobody putting hands on me. I'm a free man. I don't like to be interfered with. I don't like to be waylaid. I don't like to have any outside forces intervening into my life and my freedom. And that's why I try to behave in an upright fashion. You know what I'm saying? I try to behave in a law-abiding fashion because I don't want nobody in my business. So if you can't control yourself, all you doing is inviting other people, the state, to come use force to control you. Another thing I want to say, everybody acting like you got, I don't know, half of America or whatever seems like they down with Antifa. And they acting like Antifa is actually fighting anti-fascist. They actually against fascism. Antifa is fascist, and they're using the oldest trick in the book. You name yourself something that people can't disagree with, so they don't know how to approach you and say, no, I ain't down with that. If they fighting against fascists, if they anti-fascist, how can you be against them? Well, don't look at their name, look at their actions. I consider myself to be a male, adult male who tries his best to be an honorable man, tries his best to be upright, tries his best to follow Christ, Jesus of Nazareth. I try to follow him. I fail every day, but I try. And if you're going to be somebody who is honest, with integrity and upright, one thing you cannot do is have anything to do with Antifa. Now, you can look on YouTube and they censoring people left and right. I can't even find half the videos that I've watched before and I know exist. So these videos may not be up there. But I've seen videos of Antifa up in Portland, Oregon, and all up in the Northeast. The Northwest, the Pacific Northwest, up there where Bigfoot at, supposedly. I done seen a video of Antifa doing stuff like blocking an old lady walking across the street because she was going to something they didn't agree with. Old lady on a walker in a wheelchair dang near can't even move. Even if that old lady was Hitler's mama, you shouldn't be, as a strong, able-bodied adult, you should not be putting yourself in a physical confrontation with somebody like that. That is dishonorable. And like I said, I, for one, I don't know about you, but I can't get down with dishonor. I can't get down with weakness. I can't get down with taking stuff instead of making stuff. I can't get down with that. And because of that, I can't get down with Antifa. Also, if you have any knowledge of the past, you start seeing that the whole establishment, all the news agencies, everybody on TV, all the actors, all the big money supporting something, that's called the establishment, people. And when the establishment is supporting something, it is because the establishment gets power out of supporting it. So when you see groups like Antifa and even Black Lives Matter and everybody's down with the cause and you can't say nothing against it, or you get shouted down and get in trouble and you a racist even though people don't know nothing about you, or you Uncle Tom, that is called a program. That is called, look here, y'all remember COINTELPRO? Some of y'all might not know about COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO, counterintelligence program, was something that the FBI, CIA, and others, I think this is specifically the FBI, COINTELPRO, but they all kind of have their own little adjuncts of this. They were totally against the anti-war movement and the civil rights movement. And so they did all kinds of dirty tricks against grassroots leadership. For example, sending Martin Luther King hate mail and saying you should kill yourself because we know you have committed adultery and we know you be doing deviant sexual practices and we're going to expose you. But the only way you can not have us not expose you is by killing yourself. That's counterintelligence program. Now, who you think is in cities in that rhyme that I just did, y'all, that verse I just kicked. yeah, I said something about the who you think is setting up them bricks. You think that was set up by accident? Who you think is setting up bricks, pallets of bricks? Look it up if you ain't seen this, folks. They setting up pallets of bricks before the riots happened. They set up pallets of bricks, and then the fascists can come and have bricks right there to throw when they riot. That takes Do you know how much money and coordination it takes to have bricks delivered across the nation? You really think that's a grassroots organization? You're getting played like pawns upon a chessboard, played by rulers who just want war. That's what I'm talking about in there. Another point I want to make here. There's so much to say, but I will say this. I don't really see America coming back from this. This has been going on for 4 years almost, ever since Trump's election. And I want to tell people straight up, I'm not for Trump. I'm for freedom. I'm not down with Trump, Hillary. I ain't down with the red team, the blue team. I'm down with the Jenkins team. I'm down with righteousness. I'm down with truth. I'm down with people who are down with righteousness and truth. And that's what I want to close this little episode out with, is like this, man. I don't think the country can come back from this COVID-19, which was clearly a setup. That's why I say they softened us up with their COVID-19. I'm not sure we can bounce back from this. Economically, socially, I don't think we can bounce back in any way, form, or fashion. They keep trying to tell us this the new normal, yet I think this might end up being the new normal. I don't use their phraseology, but the way I see things actually developing in this country from here on out is I think we're going to stay divided. And because of that, there's portions in the Bible where it says that you were neither hot nor cold, so I spit you out. It says that if the salt lose its flavor, then what shall it be salted with? How you gonna make the salt salty if the salt don't taste like salt? In other words, it's telling you to pick a side. And I'm realizing that I can't waste my time around people who don't even want to give people a fair shot. I can't waste my time around people who are not even interested in free speech, who are not even interested in opposing ideas, who only seem to be interested in tearing the system down and advocating positions that are designed to sow division. And so for the future, I can't tell nobody else what to do, and I wouldn't presume to do that, because I believe we are all individuals and that God gave us the ability to run our own lives. But what I'm going to do for my life is I'm going to secede in every way possible from people who don't share my mind state. If you wish to talk about things and be productive and try to work towards some common ground and keep this country going, the idea of America, if you're still down with that, then we can have disagreements but still be Americans, and we can still talk to each other. But there's people out there that don't want to do that, and I'm not wasting my time or breath on them. So I'm building my tribe. In my tribe, I'm trying to find people that not look like me, people that think like me, because it's not. And when you start going by people who look like you and people who subscribe to the same lifestyles that you, those are petty divisions that are used by people in power to rule us. You know what I'm saying? If you divide everybody and say, oh, all white people hate black people, and all white people are this, that, and the other, and all black people are this, that, and the other, all straight people are this, that, and all, that just lends itself. Whenever you see that duality, whenever it's an us and them, you know that's a method of control being foisted upon you. When you see, on the other hand, people saying, you know what, I like brewing beer and making music, so I want to hang out with people that also have home brewing kits and make music. How you gonna divide somebody based on that? People are gonna like each other if they have the same hobbies, the same interests, and the same ends, and if they cool and respectful toward each other. But if you steadily talking about things that lend themselves to division, this binary on or off, black or white, gay or straight, Christian, atheist, Muslim, Christian, Muslim, Jew, whenever you hear people talking like that, I automatically suspect that they're trying to have control and power over me, and I automatically tend to distance myself. And so I'm gonna go with that, man. I'm gonna distance myself from people who are clearly not trying to operate in my best interest, the best interest of my family. I can't be around them. Now, if you cool and if you have talents and skills and you like to be judged as an individual and you like to hang out with people that are cool and have talents and skills and like to be judged, then you my tribe. I don't care about your color. I don't care about your race and your ethnicity, where you're from, your sexuality. Why do they keep bringing up stuff that adults are not supposed to even worry about anymore? If you worried about that stuff, the question evolves, How adult or how mature are you? You know what I'm saying? You just down with somebody because they black and I'm black, and you black and I'm black, so we must be cool. Nah, man, I don't even know you. You white and I'm white. White power. Oh, really? We're both homosexuals. We're both gay men. Yeah, we're both gay men, but you a scumbag, and I ain't. You see what I'm saying? You don't look at superficial things that you can't change, that you had nothing to do with, to gauge who is your crew with. Trying to rhyme, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't let me preach too much, man. I just know that things may not return. I don't think they're going to return to the way they were. And partially it's because you cannot shut an economy down and then expect it to bounce back. The jobs that were lost are gone. Many of them. They ain't coming back. That means people's livelihoods ain't coming back. That means society can't come back. It's going to be difficult. There's a lot of things I can go into, but I think this whole thing was a setup. I think they used COVID-19 to soften us up. Even if they made mistakes at first, there were people who said, wait, we can use this crisis because you don't ever let a crisis go to waste. So we're going to go to waste. So we're going to use this crisis. And then in using that crisis, they really knocked the legs out from under the society. And then they pushed this narrative with this whole police brutality and all this stuff and made it all about race. How it's going to be all about race when the cop that did the killing was white, but also there was looked like a black cop, a Hispanic cop, and some other cop. So it's literally a multicultural cop fest. Watching this, either killing this dude or watching him be killed, Mr. George Floyd. So you know what I'm saying? Well, how is that racist when you got literally one of each major race partaking in it? It's called police brutality. It's called those in power and police. Y'all brutal police that want to go out there and do all this bad stuff. How does it feel now to see your masters in government turning on you? You still gonna be loyal to that? That's a good question, huh? Anyway, party people, please, I'm gonna take time right now to build my tribe. I'm gonna take time to prepare for the storm that is coming. I'm going to take time to spend with my family, seek God, and I am seceding from all the bullcorn. I cannot be around people who are not mature, right-thinking individuals. I don't want to be around people who advocate violence. I don't want to be around people who think that society owes them something. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. And I'm going to secede mentally, spiritually, and as soon as all my monetary and financial plans get the way I want them, I'm going to secede physically. You know what I'm saying? That's what free men do. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to the North Star Podcast. This is Robert Jenkins. Thank you for your time today. My customary outro and my customary manner of parting almost seems pointless, but I'm still gonna say it because I wish y'all peace. So I'm gonna say